right, joining me now for another edition of Knights Coach's Corner is head coach of the EHL Knights, and that's Josh Fusco. And Josh, you're coming off a weekend here in which your guys took 2 losses against the Connecticut Rough Riders. You and I talked about it a little bit at the end of those games. Obviously first game on Saturday, things got away from you there in the second period. But then on Sunday, you guys fought pretty hard. It was a 3-1 loss, but it was, it seemed like you and I were talking about that it was a game that was pretty close throughout the entirety of that 60 minutes. So what are those things that are just, a couple adjustments away from working? And then what are the things that you really want to improve on heading into next week against the Revolution?
One of the biggest things to improve on, I think, is the mental toughness. Not so much the physical toughness. We got some boys that are tough and physically tough, and the big thing is the mental part of the game. And then, like you said, we fought hard and played a good hockey game. I feel on Sunday there is, just those when you're playing good hockey and you're playing good hockey teams. Yeah. Those little breakdowns, that turnover, this penalty or this, it leads to, goals against you. And, I think now that we're starting to play a little bit more complete and we're starting to get the systems down and guys are starting to finally see, how things work, and I got to do this and I got to do that. And when you make that one mistake, how glaring it really is. And then to battle that is staying positive, and that's something that I started harping on yesterday, and had the boys here a little bit, and obviously we have practice coming up today, and
sure.
It's going to be one of those days where let's see how mentally tough we are type of practices, and I think that's something that we need.
When the past talking to you in these interviews, we've talked about you guys have faced almost every type of game you can play to this point, almost. But there is one consistent trend, at least in the games that you guys have lost, is that second period, there's a pretty drastic split between goals against and goals for and goals against. Is it just a matter of just coming out of that first intermission, are things a little slow to get out, in terms, because the first period you guys are about even with your opponents in goals scored and allowed, and the third is the same. So it's something in that middle period. Do you think it's something that the other teams are just making quicker adjustments, or do you think that it's a matter of just your guys have to come out a little bit faster in that first intermission?
Yeah, I think we need to definitely up it going into the first.
Sure.
And we've been playing pretty well in the first period, and that's something that we kind of had an issue a few weeks ago, starting a period, starting the game out strong. So you can see that grow, and we're getting better with that. And I think it's that we get a little too comfortable where we're at, and then you come out, and obviously a good veteran team like the Rough Riders, they know the second period they need to amp it up, turn it up another notch, where we stayed even keel. And the boys didn't amp it up another level. Sure. So, they didn't match that. And again, that's on me. Maybe that's on me, and then I gotta maybe tweak a few things in that first intermission. But then we come out in the third period, and it's like we're a brand new team. And it's like, so it's kind of fun, like funky how it's been working. And it's one of those things, like as a coach, you try to figure that out, and you're trying to combat what you think would be the reverse, of the things and how it's working. But honestly, Tim, I can't take a whole lot of negatives out of the weekend. Yeah. Like I said, we got 40-something games left still. Yeah. And we're playing good hockey teams, and the boys are playing better hockey. Mm-hmm. I think practices have been getting better and better. And obviously, they jumped out there and looked like they were gonna, hand us our butts. And we kind of, popped a few goals in and made an interesting hockey game in the third period there on Saturday. So, that battling back, and then I think after speaking with a couple of boys and having the team here, and my mindset for yesterday was I want them in the rink. I want them putting smiles on their faces. Let's have a little fun. Let's enjoy ourselves a little bit. Let's let the weekend go. And then we started doing a few exercises and a few things to kind of get on that positive track. Sure. And that's something that obviously, where some of these guys come from, it's a different mentality or a different philosophy. So, learning how to be a junior hockey player, ultimately learning how to be a hockey player, is a new experience for them. And you know, it's a slow process, but we're getting better and better.
And I know we've talked about this in the past about those guys who have been junior hockey players. Your returners plus the guys you've brought in who are junior veterans. I've spoken to some of them, over the last few weeks. Both in interviews and out of interviews. But what specifically from those leaders? We've talked about Jake Fuss, Red Padgett, guys who have been here for a while. Others that are newer to the team but have been around junior hockey for a while, like guys like Jared Stahl, for a while, going way back. What specifically, on the ice? Obviously, they're performers and they go out and they consistently produce. But what off the ice do you want to see from them in terms of talking to these younger guys, not letting them get too down after a goal allowed or something like that? What specifically do you look from them to set the tone?
Positivity. With guys like that, you don't want them to blast a guy or kick a guy when he's already down. So, I think the veteran guys have been doing a good job with that. And after Saturday and Sunday, you feel like you played a good hockey game. You feel like your team responded well and played well.
Right.
And you go in that locker room, and it's one of those things like, what do you say to the guys at this moment in time?
Yeah.
You just lost 2 games in a row where you didn't play that bad. What do you say to these boys? And when I walked in there and you see some of their faces, it was like, this is not good. You gotta learn how to bounce back, keep your head up, and I think Stahl kind of stepped up to the plate there as a leader. He got the boys going a little chant there. After I walked out of the room, I could hear him down the hall, and Fuss has been doing a great job, and Zacho, and JP and Tishan's in that mix of captains, and they're very vocal and they're very positive, and I don't really have to say a whole lot to those boys.
Yeah.
They kind of know, and that's what's great about having the leaders that I have on this team is. I don't have to sit them down every week and talk to them about an issue or something. They know what needs to be done. They know that, hey, I'm battling for you, you got to battle for me type of thing, and that's the message this week. We're going to battle, and it's I'm going to battle for you as the coach, and I need to know that you're going to battle for Dennis Arkapenko, and you're going to battle for Brady Hansen, and that guy's and it kind of trickles down the line, and then the positive vibe.
Right.
I see a lot of guys, they make a bad pass and they come back to the bench and they sit there and they dwell on it. And you might not actually physically see it, but I was a hockey player.
Yeah.
And I went through that stuff. And that when you come back to the bench, you got to think positive. Next shift, I'm going to make a good pass. I'm going to move my feet. I'm going to get a shot on net. And what I did was sat with the captains yesterday and I said, hey, we got to start a little, I think we got to do something here to show the positive vibes and get that mentality that, hey, everything we're doing is 100%. We're going to be perfect today.
Yeah.
And they started a little note card mural on the wall of all positive stuff, and so when they walk by the hallway every day going into the ice, they see these positive things and it's like, hey, I got to hit the net. Hey, I got to work harder. Hey, I got to back check better. And it's just like, hey, if something breaks down or you come back in after the period now and hey, I had a bad period that period. You can go look at that wall and see some of the notes on that wall, and you kind of, right, I got to back check. I wrote that I'm going to back check. I got to back check.
Yeah.
And holding guys accountable.
Yeah.
We got to hold ourselves accountable as the coaches. The players need to hold themselves accountable as well. It can't just be the coach always going for the player. And that's something that we talked about. And it's to win a hockey game, you have to have positives that outweigh the negatives. And right now, you're getting more negatives than you're getting the positives. And that's why you're not winning the close games. Or when we're getting down by a goal or two, it's like the end of the world to us. Because you guys are so down and out that it makes it tougher for you to get back into the game.
Yeah.
But again, it's a learning experience, right?
Yeah,
and
right.
It's a process. And, I think a big step in the right direction is yeah, we lost 2 games, but I think there's a huge step in the right direction there. I think it's opened a couple guys' eyes up, and 4 guys got the opportunity to skate in all practice today.
Yeah.
So, I think some of the guys are starting to, a little reward there. You're working hard, you deserve it. let's get you in an NA practice, and now you see what that's like, and the speed and the tempo, and how much harder guys hit and pass the puck, and now bring it to the EHL team.
Sure.
Bring it back to your team. And help these guys, jump to that level.
Sure. All right. Well, if you're interested in coming out and seeing that result, the Knights will take on the Philadelphia Revolution right here inside the Revolution Ice Center, and that will take place first on this Saturday, October, I believe that's the 7th at 2:30 p.m. And then second game in a row at home here against those same Revolution will be Sunday the 8th at 2 p.m. So Saturday 2:30, Sunday 2 p.m. Those games will both be on hockeytv.com. You can also follow WBS Knights EHL on Twitter, or go to easternhockeyleague.org and check the box score there for live updates. But Josh, thanks for giving us a few moments as always, and we'll talk to you again next week.
All right, Tim, thanks.